Hello. Hey, hi everyone. Welcome back to Skills for Chasers. In this video, we are going to solve a project. So this is a case study in which we will be covering all the aspects of Power BI, and ultimately we will be building a final report which will be completely a client ready. So over here we have a scenario like we have, say, suppose we are working for a client, Zomato. Now we all know Zomato is basically a company which aggregates the data of different restaurants and provides us valuable information regarding the different restaurants that they have at different locations. Now, what objective we have over here is the company has collected the data of various restaurants across the globe. And what they have done with us is they have sent us that data, and there are multiple Excel files, which I will just be showing you what those Excel files are all about. And using all those files, we will be trying to create a report for them with the help of which they should be able to understand how many restaurants they have across the continents, countries, and cities. They should be able to identify the top performing restaurants based on the ratings that are given by the customers and multiple such analysis. Now, all these analyses are something which we will only be able to achieve once we have properly manipulated the data and stored it in a proper way. So this entire case study is going to help us to understand the aspects of Power Query. How do we clean the data? We will be covering the aspects of data modeling. We will be creating certain DAX and finally visualizations. So first of all, let's have a quick look on the different files of data that we have with us. So we have multiple data sets with us. So if you see over here, we have a file of Africa. In this, you have the list of all the restaurants which are in Africa continent. Similarly, the similar file is for Asia. We have it for Europe. We have it for North America, Oceania, South America. So these are the continent files that we have. So the structure of all the file is same. So let's have a look at one of the files, which is of Africa. Now in the file of Africa, we are provided with the information like we have a restaurant ID, we have a country code, in which city of the Africa that particular restaurant is. If you will see the restaurant name and address, both the things are given in one column. So we have locality, we have longitude, latitude if we want to create a map. So these coordinates can help us quick in that. We have the different cuisines they are serving to us. So on the similar lines, we have the data in the other continent files as well. And then if you will see, we have the data regarding the country codes. So in this, we will be able to map that, if you would have noticed in this file, we have a column of country code with the help of which we can identify in a particular continent which country that restaurant is located. So if I want to see the country name, that is given to us in a separate file, which is country code. And then we have a fact table. In this file, you will see we will have the information regarding for all the different restaurants. What are the ratings that were given by the people? What was the average cost and multiple other information. So as a first step, what we will be doing is we will be only loading the continent files, right? So we will be going very step by step and understanding the business application as well of doing all the steps that we do. So I have also highlighted, the high level steps over here in this Word document, which you will be able to find in the description of this video. So all the data sets and this file, you will be able to find it over there. So the first step, let's import all these files, and then we will also do certain data transformations on this data that we are going to load. So I have this Power BI desktop file open on my machine. The first step, I click on get data, and we will be loading the data up. So here I click over here on Excel workbook since the file is in an Excel file. So you all have to click over on the shortcut Excel workbook. Go to that path and I will pick file of Africa. Once I load the data, if I select this sheet of Zomato Africa, see the same data which I have shown you in the Excel can be seen over here. So I'll simply click on transform data. See, I'm not loading it. I'm directly opening the transform data window because I know we have to do multiple transformations. Plus we right now also have to load other files. So this is going to open the transform data window for us. So here we can see the Power Query editor, which helps Power BI in doing the data cleansing. That window has been opened. So now I'll be clicking over here on new source and bringing the other files. So I'll click on new source, Excel workbook. Now likewise, I will load the data for the next continent, which is Asia. And while you all watch this video, everyone, I will strongly recommend you can do this, all these things parallelly onto your machines. So that will give you a great learning experience. So let's load the next files. So this is done. So I'll click on new source, Excel workbook, and we'll be loading the data for Europe. So now here you can all see everyone, I have loaded all the 6 continent files over here right now. So that is the first thing that I have done. So we have just loaded all the 6 continents. Now, as we can see, right, all the files, all the continents are in separate queries or the separate data sets. The first step over here would be that I would like to append all these files together and make one master data set where we have all the data of all the continents in one single source. Now, the point to note over here, all of you, is when we append the data of all the files into one, I would like to have a column of continent, right? So right now, if you will see, so right now, all of you, if you see over here, we do not have a column of continent. The reason I'm saying so is because once I will append the data, how will I identify which restaurants were of Africa, which one were of Asia, which one were of Europe? So that's why before I jump to the appending of the data, so what we will do is I'll go to my first table. I'll click on add column and I will say custom column. Now, when I say custom column, so I will call it as continent. And we can call this as Africa because this is the Africa file we are working on. Likewise, we'll go to Asia, add column, custom column, right? So we again click on custom column and we will do the same step again. And make sure all of you, when you are naming that column continent, it should be with the same case because Power Query is something which is case sensitive. So this is, we are going to call it as Asia. Then we will add it in the Europe. We'll call it as North America. Finally, we have South America. Now, once we have added this column, see if you will see right now in this South America column, I have by mistake renamed it as continent. So let me just come to this step of add column where we have added this step of added custom column. So I'll click on this settings icon and I'll make sure that it is properly named. Now, once all these 6 files are properly loaded with the proper column name of the continent, now what I'll do is I'll go back to the home tab and I will click on append query. See what is append queries? It is used to combine the data vertically one below the another. If you're not very much clear on the concept of append queries, so I have a video which you can see in the playlist. So I'll be clicking on append queries as new. And since we have to load 3 or more tables, so I'll choose the option of 3 or more tables. And we will add all the files over here. There we can see all the files will be now appended. And now I click on OK. And we have one file where we can see complete data is now combined into one file. Now, all of you, if you see, we have the complete data in appended one. And for a better naming convention, I will come to the right side. Let me call it as complete data so that, we have a proper naming over here. Now, the problem over here is that these tables are, the data of these table is present here, plus the data of these table is also present in their respective files. So don't you think if this is we are having the same data present 2 times and Power BI definitely will consume twice the memory, which will impact the performance of my reporting. So what we can do all of you is so that these tables are not even visible to the report, plus so that my data is also not twice the size. So what we will do is if I right click on this Zomato Africa, I will uncheck this option of enable load. Now, what exactly this enable load does? This will ensure that Power BI will keep this table at a logical level. Logical level means it will make a connection with that file, but physically data will not be loaded here, but data will be physically loaded in this table. So in case if you add tomorrow new data into this file of Zomato Africa, you will not have any problem. When you will refresh the Power BI, the latest data will straight away flow into this complete data file. So that way, what I will do now is I will right click on each file and I will say uncheck enable load. Right click in uncheck the enable load. Similarly here for Oceania and then for South America. So here we can see that the font has also changed. That simply means that these tables are now available at logical layer, not physical, which is very good for your the performance of the Power BI files as well. Now, when we take a look on this complete data file, there are certain data cleaning steps that we will be performing. So if I go back to that Word document, so we have that we want to remove the word city from each city name. So wherever the word city is coming, we would like to remove that. So can we do one thing? If I come to this complete data and I will select the column of city. And if you click on the drop down, you should be able to see that wherever the city is coming, we can see at multiple places the name city is coming. So what do we do over here is we will be clicking over here city and we will say replace values. And I will replace city with nothing. Now if I click on OK. Now wherever the word city was present, we have removed it. We just have to do a replace. But the problem after removing that city is we will be having a space in the last, right? Because if the name was Vatican space city, so city is removed, space is still there. So how can we remove the space as well? If I go to the transform, I will apply the option of format and we will trim the data. So when you do the trim, all of you, trim will remove all the extra spaces in the last or in the starting. The next step that we would like to apply over here is we have to replace Sao Paulo should be corrected as Sao Paulo. So we have both the names given to us. So I'll again take the same help of Home tab. We will click on Replace Values and we will replace it with Sao Paulo. Then we have to correct Cedar Rapids, Iowa City to Cedar Rapids. Now if I say replace values, now see the word city would have been removed. So can I make sure that I remove this city from here and I then take Cedar Rapids? Now see, when we are doing the steps, all of you, you also have to keep in mind all the previous steps that you have done so that, we do not end up making some mistakes when we keep flowing with the data. We have to replace Istanbul with Istanbul. So here we can now see all the data transformation that we required in the column of city, they have been taken care of. Now we have a column which says remove the columns which are not used. So right now I will not remove these columns. Reason being because we have to make a report as well right now. So once later on we realize which columns we don't need, we will definitely remove them. The next question we have is we have to make separate columns to show the restaurant name and restaurant address. So if we see in this complete data, all of you, right now the restaurant name and address both are in the same column. And how are they differentiated? We can see first we have the restaurant name. So we can see first of all we have a restaurant name, then we have a comma. And after comma, we have the address. So can we take the help of split column? So if I select this column, on the home tab itself, we have an option of split column. So if I click on this split by column delimiter that we have is comma. And we want to split only at the leftmost delimiter. The moment the first comma comes, before comma will be my restaurant name. After comma will be my restaurant address. So here we can see the split has happened and we will do a proper naming. So this is going to be my restaurant name. And the next one is going to be my restaurant address. The next question that we have over here is, it is asked us to create a separate table where you get the list of cuisines served by each restaurant. So now we have to make a separate table where we should be able to see for each restaurant what different cuisines they are serving. So if we come over here, first of all, let's do one thing. If I right click on the complete data, we will make a reference of this table. See, there are two steps, all of you, duplicate and reference. When you make a duplicate, what will happen in the duplicate is it will make an exact same copy of this table where all these steps that you have applied will be visible to us. But when you make a reference, now in the reference, all of you, what will happen? This table will act as a parent for this table. So this table will be your child and this table will be the parent. If anything changes over here, the same change will reflect in the child table as well. So that's where instead of making a duplicate, because if I will make a duplicate, then the same steps will be done twice by two of the queries of the Power BI, which is again going to impact the performance. So we have made a reference and I can call it as cuisines table. Now in the cuisine table, all of you, I will just keep restaurant ID and we have a column of cuisines. So I press Control and select this column. And now can I say remove the other columns? We want to keep only two of the columns. So here we can see restaurant ID and the cuisines. But the problem over here with this table right now, all of you, is this, that now if I have to make a view where I want to show how many cuisines each restaurant is serving. So if we all see, all of you, both the cuisines are in one single cell. So I will not be able to consume this data to count how many cuisines this restaurant is serving. Or for example, I want to just see the data for those restaurants who are serving, say, for example, pizza. Now, this restaurant is only serving pizza. Definitely, I can filter that data out. But if any restaurant which would be serving pizza and some burgers also, over there, those values, I will not be able to filter it out because this data is not in a machine readable format. This is a human readable format. So how should I bring this data into the machine readable format? So for that, we will actually have to apply the concept of pivoting and unpivoting. Now, if you're not clear on that concept of what pivoting and unpivoting is, machine readable data and what human readable data is, you can go back and watch the video of pivot and unpivot, where you will have a understanding of those steps from the scratch. So I'm going to select this column of cuisines, and I'm going to say, let's split this column by a delimiter, and we will keep the delimiter as comma. And at each occurrence of the delimiter, we will split it up. Now I'm selecting all the columns over here, and we will click on transform, and we will say unpivot. So if you're not clear on the concept of pivoting and unpivoting, please go back and watch that video of pivot and unpivot. Now you can see for each restaurant, we can see attributes and all the cuisines are coming in a separate column. So I will remove this attribute field from here, and I can see all the values right present over here in this. So here we can see our complete data plus a cuisine table is ready. Now we are going to bring the other tables over here. So we will now bring the country code table. So I'm going to come to the home tab, and we'll click on new source, and we will click on Excel, and we bring the country code file. We will choose country master, and we'll click on OK. Now, when we load this data of country master, all of you, we will notice values are duplicated. We have some blank rows. So what can I do over here right now is I will simply say remove rows, remove blank rows. And then I will also say remove duplicates. So now in this country master, we have a proper cleaned data with us. Now I'll click on new source, Excel workbook. Now the last file is left, which is fact table. And we'll click on open. And see, this is the fact table where we have KPI data. Here you will find we have restaurant ID. For each restaurant, what is the average cost for two? Currency is given. Do they have a table booking? Do they have online delivery? Price range? What is the aggregate rating? And how many votes the restaurant has got from the different people? So all that data is given to us. So let's load this up. So now if you see, we have total of 4 tables with us. And now let's click on close and apply after all the tables have been loaded. So here we can see now the data has been loaded. And now let's go back to the modeling view. Now we will make sure that the tables are properly connected. So we can see because of that, automated modeling, in the Power BI, we can see they have automatically been connected. So this is where you have the KPI table, which is connected by restaurant ID to the complete data. And here also we have restaurant ID and we have the information regarding the cuisines as well. And then country master is connected on the basis of country code. So we can see over here our data preparation plus data modeling part has been done. And now we have to focus on the reporting and we will be doing that in the next video. Hope you all would have enjoyed this video. So stay tuned for the part 2 of this where we will talk about DAX and create a full-fledged report over there. Thanks everyone for watching this video.